need to manage cancer or treat cancer, if you want to say that, in a way that actually works. How many, I'm not going to ask that question. I don't want to put anybody on the spot. Many people I know have undergone chemotherapy and radiation and surgery, the big three. Most of them are dead. Because the statistics show us that 97.1% in the United States and 97.3% of the people in Australia who undergo chemotherapy are dead in 5 years. Most people don't know that because we listen to the agencies who sell us the treatments and they tell us, oh, we're healing 60, 70% of people. And it's just not true. These statistics, you know where they came from? They came from Australia.
Really?
Wow.
They came from Australia. They came from Dr. Graham, I just said his name at my last presentation. I know him because I talked to him. And I asked him about this study because he's a doctor. He's a retired doctor who lives in Australia now. And he was the lead guy of an it's late in the day. Epidemiology, it's the study of studies is what it is. And they collected all the studies on chemotherapy for years. And they compiled all of their statistics. And that's how they found these percentages of 97.1 and 97.3. So I got a hold of him because I said, people don't believe it. They simply don't believe it because they're told differently. And they had published this study in the 2004 edition of the Journal of Oncology in the United States. And you know what that is? That's the Cancer Doctors magazine.
Yeah.
And that's where they published it. And I said, well, is it still true? And he says, oh, yeah, it's at least that bad. And I said, really? And he said, they've made some advances in working with cancer patients with the rarer forms of cancers, the in situ cancers, meaning they're just tiny, they don't move, they're just right there, and they can take it out, and that one might not spread. But he says, by and large, those statistics are still real. Why is that? Why do people who undergo those treatments, they almost all die? Probably all of us know someone who has undergone chemo or radiation, and they're still alive today, and they've survived for a period of time. I do. I know a number of them. And that falls within that 3% or so. Most of those are people who change their lives, either during or after their chemotherapy treatments. And they changed what they did, how they ate, how they drank, and all of these things. And they were able to survive. Some of them never had cancer at all, and still they're in the statistics. Some of the women had DCIS, which is ductal carcinoma in situ. We think that's breast cancer, but it's not. It's only a precancerous condition. And yet in the United States, we have doctors that are doing bilateral mastectomies on women, removing both breasts because they have DCIS. It's a crime. They should be thrown in jail.
That is true.
And it's really sad because in the United States, in Southeast Asia, in Australia, in the entire world now, we need to understand what medicine is all about. It's not about keeping you well. It's not really about healing you, although a lot of doctors have good hearts and would love to have their patients healed. Again, I'm not maligning doctors. It's the system that I'm challenging. It's just amazing. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about power and money. It is simply about power and money. And we need to understand that, and then we need to seek out the things that can really help us. And that's what we've done. We started our work a long time ago and trying to discover the truth about cancer. How many have seen that series, The Truth About Cancer? Have any of you watched that? I was in a couple of those with Ty Ballinger, but it's really true that we are seeking the answers to cancer. But even though we continue to seek, we really already know what to do. And because we already know what to do with cancer, We know what to do with heart disease, and diabetes, and autoimmune diseases such as lupus and fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis. We know what to do with regular arthritis, osteoarthritis. And there are so many other sicknesses that we're working with right now too. Neurodegenerative diseases. All of you know about the Parkinson's and the Alzheimer's and the Lou Gehrig's disease and all of these that are just absolutely ravaging our elderly people in the United States now. It shouldn't be so. First of all, the real cure is prevention. Purely and simply, it's prevention. We do nothing about prevention. Nothing. We're always after the fact. We're always treating symptoms, hoping the body will heal itself in modern medicine. And it doesn't work that way. So we need to think about what works for the body holistically, and we need to walk backwards these sicknesses and diseases we have. Doesn't that make sense to you that instead of just treating symptoms, which can't heal the patient, they do that in cancer? What do they want to do? They want to take out the tumor, right? Isn't that what it's all about? And yet the tumor is not the problem. The tumor is a symptom. It's a symptom that something has gone wrong in your body. It's really a warning sign that something is wrong, and your body is trying to save itself with that tumor. Because if you took that tumor out and you bisected it and you looked inside of it, you know what you would find? You would find cancer in the middle of it, and then you would find all the good cells that are trying to encapsulate it. That's what it is. Your body's trying to protect itself. But we don't pay much attention to that either, because then we go in there and we try and nuke it with chemicals and radiation. And those, believe it or not, make the cancer more virile. They have no way of killing all the cancer, because those methodologies can't kill the cancer stem cells. That's what we need to be after, not the cancer daughter cells. That's why tumors shrink, because chemotherapy and radiation will kill some cancer cells, but they kill the weaker cells, the daughter cells. They can't kill the mother cells. It actually makes them stronger. And the studies prove that today, that they spread cancer and they cause new cancers. So why would you do that? I don't know why. And if you do get your tumor removed, the doctor says, we've got it all. That's not true. That's almost never true. Because when you cut into the body, what happens? You bleed, don't you? And blood vessels, even small capillaries, hopefully not arteries, but are severed and you bleed. And you have circulating cancer cells from that tumor or in your blood, and they're going to go somewhere else and they're going to hide. That's why we generally hear, and we've heard this a million times, people who are declared cancer-free, and then 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later, the cancer's back, right? So more chemo, more radiation. We got it this time for sure. 6 months later, the cancer's back. It's because you can't kill it all with those methodologies. And it's still there. It's hiding somewhere. The cancer stem cells have gone somewhere else until they can raise their heads again. Maybe right in the same general area, maybe in your brain, maybe in your lungs. Cancer metastasizes to different areas of your body. And then it takes up residence again and begins to grow again. And so no amount of traditional medicine